Today,
I'm going to do a still life with a little different technique than I normally do. So I'm going to get messy. I'm going to work on not having edges. Let's see what happens. I came back to this painting today and realized I don't like the color of the table. I feel like it's kind of boring. It needs to have more in the background. And I don't know, I kind of like the looser style. That's what I was aiming for, but it's in need of a rehab. So let's see what we can do to it. I'm trying to get some clarity around the flowers because they're so pale, I want them to stand out. And some part of the wall shows through in the back. I'm not really sure this is the right color. And I think I've got this paint a little too thick. I suppose adding definition to the flowers is not really what I want to be doing, but it's just habit. It's a habit I need to get rid of. I ended up mixing up some quinacridone violet with some alizarin and a little blue. I'm trying to get some center parts to these flowers so they make more sense. The trick is getting just enough white in here to show a little bit of differentiation between the flowers. I kind of wanted this kind of background, which I like, but I noticed that my flowers weren't standing out, so I decided to add this lighter background. I'm not sure that this is going to work. I'm kind of experimenting a little bit with it, and I might end up covering this up, I guess, which is usually what happens when you don't like an experiment. I always end up getting a little too thick with my paint too early, which is kind of what's happened here. And what's funny, well, what's not funny, but I added some cad yellow medium here to sort of make this darker, but that was a mistake because it makes it brighter. The chroma's brighter and it sort of stands out too much. So I'm going to add more yellow ochre to it, dull the chroma, put a teeny bit of ultramarine blue. I had wanted this to have that sort of quinacridone violet background. That's also the color, obviously, that I'm using on the flowers, but I wanted it more cohesive with that kind of background here. So just playing around with this. I like this little brush I'm using. It's a number 4 Ivory Filbert. I've used it so much I've kind of worn, it's almost like a point. Anyway, it's pretty cool. I want to get it darker up in this corner. So I've gone back to the yellow ochre. I was adding some quinacridone violet, which I'm also using in the flowers, but I'm trying to change it so that it's not super noticeable. that it's the same colors. And you know, you can take any color and alter it. And, well, the last video I did was evidence of that, because I only used 3 colors and I made it look, you know, like a lot of different colors. Yeah, I think that looks better, and I'll have to paint the stems a little bit darker. In fact, I'm going to use a smaller brush to make them stand out a little better. Make that look like a flower. So I decided I wanted these flowers to be something else, and I really don't know what they are now. Maybe some kind of a little daisy or something. But I didn't feel like I was able to make carnations look like carnations. And sometimes you might find that if you can't make it understandable, then you probably need to take a different tack. So back to this bird. I wasn't really happy with how it looked, so after a while I'm going to scrap it and start over, but you kind of dance around as far as what you're working on in the painting. Initially, this little upper left-hand corner was a window, and then I decided I was going to make it a painting. So I'm dancing around on the background, and I thought I was done. And this is when I decided the bird's got to go. So I decided to change it into like a salt and pepper shaker kind of a thing. Make it look more artificial, because it definitely wasn't a real bird. It was an artificial bird. And he's sitting on a little boat of some kind. And then it seemed like the table was a little bit too dull, so I decided to kind of brighten that up. Now this whole color scheme is definitely different for me. I don't think I've ever painted anything in this color, or used such a vibrant green. The right-hand side of this painting needs to be darker because the light's coming from the left. So I'm darkening that a little bit. Still trying to maintain this quasi-impressionist style. Back to the vase. Now this vase is kind of square or more rectangular, and I'm trying to show the contours of it. That background needs to have a little more color variation in it. And it's important to show some of the green through the vase because it's clear. I'm also trying to get some of those reflections on the glass. Aren't you glad I speeded this up? This would have taken forever. Yeah, I needed to do that. That darkness needed to be there to show the shadow. Okay, here's the final painting.